Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Roe Ruttenberg in Washington, D.C. We begin with another success for China's space program, the launch of a supply ship for the nation's new space station. The Tianzhou-2 blasted off on Saturday from Hainan Island. It's part of 11 launches planned through next year to deliver modules for the 70-ton space station. The chief designer of the space station explains its construction.
After the Tianzhou-2 cargo ship delivers resupplies to the core module of China's space station, the Shenzhou-12 manned spaceship will be launched. A crew of 3 will become the first team of astronauts stationed in the Tianhe core module for a 3-month sojourn in orbit.
神舟飞船把航天员运上去，进行在轨的关键技术验证阶段，一共要发送2个天舟货运飞船。2艘神舟飞船在完成关键技术的验证，
要试验2次。
对，一次呢航天员驻留3个月，另外一次的话航天员驻留6个月。这样的话呢，来验证我们核心舱的在轨的关键技术。在关键技术验证完以后的话，要在轨进行评估，评估说可以进行建造了，那么再从前向这个口，然后对接这个实验舱1组织上楼。也前向口进行对接，然后我们通过一个转位机构把它转位到侧向的，转位90度侧向进行对接。这个对接这以后的话呢，就形成了永久的停泊，我们叫侧向的停泊口。同理，在发射实验舱2也是从前向这个地方对接上来，然后再转90度到停泊口进行永久停泊，这样就构成了一个 T 字形的一个构型。
他们2个是同期发射还是先
后发射？但是间隔很短。
那他们都是带着电池翼上来的？
对，他们都是可以是独立的航天器，可以独立的飞行和自主的交会对接能够对上去，跟空间站先期在轨运行的核心舱形成一个在轨的组合体了。
Amitabh Ghosh is a space scientist who's worked on NASA's Mars missions since 1997. He joins us now from here in Washington. Amitabh, thanks so much for joining us. We heard there some of the construction process described. I want to get your thoughts on the process. Is it overwhelmingly complicated? Is it pretty straightforward? Or is it, something in the middle? This is not my language, it's yours.
Right. So obviously this is very complicated. There's very little room for defect and failure. And a tiny defect can magnify into a huge system issue. So I think overall, everything in the rocket science business has to be very precise. Sometimes has to be very acquainted to working in high extreme temperatures, extreme pressures. So it is a very involved process.
There's that expression, it's not rocket science, but this is literally rocket science. As someone whose career has focused on space, how exciting is this moment for you, even if you aren't Chinese?
Well, I think that overall, the momentum for space exploration has never been better than now. So you can see that the Chinese have done one very successful stretch of lunar missions. They've successfully landed on Mars with a rover, and now they are trying to do a space station. The Americans are headed back to the moon. 2 very rich private companies, SpaceX and Blue Origins, have taken it upon their mandate from the individual owners. Elon Musk thinks that the human race needs to be on another planet, needs to be an extraterrestrial species living on Mars. So there is a lot of simultaneous things going on. The private players make it the most interesting because they also bring in the economy of cost. For example, the SpaceX missions are probably 1,000 times cheaper than anything NASA has done ever before. So going forward, it would be very interesting to see when this human mission to Mars, for example, happens, which was thought to be very improbable in the past because of its huge $250 billion space cost tag. So, and then there is this possibility that we might find life on another planet, particularly Mars. So all this is turning out to be a decade of space exploration from multiple countries, and it's very exciting for me personally as a scientist.
And why does China need its own space station? Why not use the International Space Station?
Well, I think each country is trying to build its own capabilities. If you looked at the 1970s and 60s, there were just two people in the race, two countries in this race. And now even United Arab Emirates has its own satellite around Mars. So each country has to go through its own developmental journey. And I think, and we have 200 countries. Maybe 200 countries will not get there, but at least more and more countries will come into the club as we go forward. And that is just normal.
Very exciting moment indeed. Amitabh Ghosh, thank you for your insight.